Instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. Well, welcome in, everybody, to the Flagstick Podcast. I'm Jeff Potter. He's Scott McLeod. We're gonna be with you for a while this morning, today, however you want to put it. I don't even know, is it morning or night? Anyway, Flagstick Podcast brought to you this week by TaylorMade Golf. What if a golf ball isn't the number one golf ball for you? Meet the all-new TP5, TP5X from TaylorMade, whether you prefer the softest 5-layer tour ball in TP5 or the fastest, that's now half a club longer in TP5X. You'll be playing a golf ball that performs like it was built just for you. Available in white, yellow, and picks. You can personalize it with my symbol. No matter which you choose, every TP5 and TP5X is designed to help your game. Head to TaylorMadeGolf.ca today to find out what the number one ball for you is. Of course, we want you to be following us across all social media networks, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and please subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. We do encourage you, of course, to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us, and click the notification bell to make sure that you never miss a single episode. Something exciting coming in the next, say, next couple of weeks, maybe next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, I just added some stuff up there yesterday, just a couple of shorts and things that people want to have a look at that. Another Ask Flagstick. But as you say, we got some stuff brewing.
We got some stuff brewing. That is, and we're not talking about coffee here.
Although there might be coffee involved.
Oh, there'll be coffee involved. It could be a long day.
We have some recording. We have some work to do, but I think people are going to like what they find and they see.
I think so too. I think so too. Just a nice little addition to what we're already providing.
Yeah,
and it should be good. A couple of big events this week on the various tours. Starting off, of course, with the RBC Canadian Open in Ancaster, Ontario, at the Hamilton Country Club. Already starting to watch some of the early coverage. It's nice. They're actually, I've been watching this morning. It's nice. They're actually now starting to show some shots.
Nice.
Because for a while I was beginning to wonder if all we were going to do is see guys putting. And I'm like, please tell me your coverage is going to be better than this, because if this is what your coverage is going to be, I want to see the freaking golf course.
Yeah,
I don't want to see putting. I want to see the shots, all the change. Like, Rory's about to tee off on 17, and that is one awesome little shot.
I actually just have been hearing from a few people on property this morning, some former caddies and stuff like that, and just looking at the changes, and they're remarking on the new tee box on 11.
We just hit it in the bleachers.
Oh no, some new looks as well. So it's interesting to kind of get that feedback as far as the golf course. So Rory in the bleachers, that's not a good sign.
I think he's in the bleachers.
He did say the golf course is going to be tougher than 2019, but I don't know if he meant that.
That was a big old slice.
Oh, that's not
and of course on the LPGA tour, the ladies tour, not really the LPGA tour because it's a USGA event. So, but in Lancaster, not Ancaster, we're going to Lancaster.
Lancaster, yes,
Lancaster, exactly. Pennsylvania,
as the locals say.
Lancaster, PA, for the U.S. Women's Open. And there's a ton of storylines to follow and discuss with respect to the LPGA in general, but the U.S. Women's Open, of course. And I'm seeing here some little note in my notes about maybe even a little game to play as well. I think I scrolled through and saw something about trivia, and I don't know. Anytime there's trivia and Scott McLeod, I'm a little bit scared because I'm not prepared.
Perfect.
I'm sure it's not hard, but as long as we're not putting any money on the line, I'm good.
There you go.
I'm good. All right.
We could be putting money on the line.
I don't want to put money on the line.
I don't think that would be fair, though.
Yeah, let's put some money on the line with trivia and you. Really great idea. Pat myself on the back for that one.
Good luck.
Okay, let's get to the front nine. Presented, of course, by our good friends at Metcalfe Golf Club. A natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Golf season is here. It is here. So do not wait. Get on wait lists for memberships or leagues and purchase some game passes to start the season and save huge on compared to regular green fees. Visit metcalfegolf.com to shop for those now. All right. Diving in hard to the front nine. Diving in
Dive.
hard to the front nine. Flagstick.com PGA of Ottawa Tour got things kicked off in one soggy,
Oh man.
yucky
Oh yeah.
beginning to the season for the local tour.
Yep.
And with the Spring Open at Equinel, familiar golf
Mm-hmm.
course for us. Not too long ago, we were there with the Flagstick Open, but the Spring Open at Equinel obviously is presented by Cobra Puma Golf this year.
Mm-hmm.
Full field
Very
for
much.
for a
Big
PGA of
field.
Ottawa event,
Large.
despite the sogginess.
Yeah, they said that it was the largest field ever for a zone event. -1. That would be
Yeah,
me.
Scott
Just a
McLeod
little.
pulled the chute.
I did. I just had too many other things going on. I was a little bit stressed, so I just didn't feel like it was wise for me to go up there and try to play. And let's just say I got a few texts from a few people saying how smart I was not to be there for the rain and to deal with it. But yeah, obviously they persevered. Unfortunately, they some players got started and then they had to do a big restart. That was a tornado watch day. There was a lot of moisture coming down.
Yeah.
They restarted with a shotgun start, but that said, it didn't stop from some great scores happening as well. I mean, if you looked at the scores overall, as far as the winners, Craig Stefarique of Falcon Ridge, I believe he was 67, I think 41 points to win the main division, and Daryl Buchanan Bucky won the seniors, shooting 68. So
Bucky,
pretty admirable.
retirement suiting him well. Eh?
It is, and he was out for a sneaky practice round on the Friday just before our
Sneaky
Flagstick
pro. What is a
Open.
sneaky practice round? You're not
Well,
allowed to. You're just
no,
gonna.
yeah. I think a lot of cases, most players just don't have time. I mean, that's the thing. If they get there, some of them, you go to an event and maybe you'll be there the day before to get a practice round in, maybe, but in a lot of cases, you know, players are just playing it cold. I mean, these women and men are, pretty busy this time of year, so trying to
Daryl
give up. And
Buchanan is serious about his golf.
he
That
is, and
man
he's
he was grinding. He
yeah.
wanted the W, and he got the W.
Yeah, he said he's working on his game a lot, worked on it a bunch this winter and made some changes, and they're kind of paying off. So, nice to see for Bucky. So, although he
Exactly.
didn't look happy in the photo. I don't know if you saw the photo that Joe McLean
Well, I
provided
did.
for us.
Well, would you have been happy after having played 18 holes of golf
No.
in that mess?
Oh
I
no.
mean,
But
I'm shocked. Hey, look,
yeah.
kudos to all of the guys and the guys and gals for getting out there and getting it done. I mean,
Yeah.
that's huge. You're better people than I am. But slugging it around in
Yeah.
in that kind of conditions. Now they are playing Equinel,
Right.
which condition wise you couldn't have really picked a better spot
No,
to
for
kind of
sure.
tip it up because it does drain extremely well. So there probably wouldn't be a ton of standing water, but man, that would have been cart
It's
path only messy day.
Yeah, it's pretty hard when it's coming down that hard for it to have any time to even drain and stuff at all. Although I'll say it, a little bit different than maybe the Monday qualifier for the RBC Canadian Open, which was on Monday as well, where they were
Hmm.
actually playing with the ball down, even though they had the same forecast, and they started play. First tee times I think were 7:30 in the morning. They knew the day was going to be tons and tons of water, and it ended up not finishing till Tuesday,
Yeah.
and they played the ball down, which resulted in I think 5 scores under par on
Wow.
top of the lengthy golf course. So
Let's
it
back
was
up for a second. We
sure.
we jump we back up for a second. Daryl Buchanan won the seniors, but we had a new face, a new winner in the main division.
Yeah, I mentioned Craig
Oh,
Stefarique.
I did. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was so into where we were going with everything. I didn't
Were
even.
you mesmerized by my
Yeah.
eyes or something? Or,
No,
yeah.
definitely not looking into your eyes, McLeod.
Yeah,
Easy,
Craig
easy
Steff
now, and don't be so full of yourself.
I'm not.
Um,
Craig Stefarique, if people are not
yes.
familiar, he works at Falcon Ridge, teaches at the bunker in the wintertime. He's down from the southwest. We'll call it southwestern, down near Hamilton region is where he originally came from. Has played extensively. We followed him. If you actually follow us on X, we've followed a lot of his progress over the last number of years over in Europe, trying to play like the Clutch Tour, some other tours over there. I think he played a little bit
So
of
not
Challenge
surprising
Tour.
that he played well in the rain.
No. Talented golfer, used to, yeah, exactly. Used to those sort of trying, as what Mark Crossfield calls England, mud island.
He probably woke up in the morning, looked at the weather, and go, ha,
It plays into my hands.
Gotcha, boys.
Yeah,
Nice. Thanks for coming out. You might as well give me the check now.
yeah, and hey, and to Craig's benefit as well, being at Falcon Ridge, he's going to have some extra practice facilities
I
to
know.
hone his game in on.
I know. Coming
soon.
We're gonna have a lot more information about what's going on at Falcon Ridge and their new endeavor on the driving range out there
Yeah.
very soon. We're just waiting for some deets, but it's happening. Okay, so sorry to cut you off there. Now we're
Yeah, no
bringing it
worries.
back on the rails. We've now put the train back on the tracks and moving forward. Okay, you were recently down. Unfortunately, I was supposed to be with you and could not make it. It's kind of like freaking the story of my life anymore. Is every time I get an opportunity to go to a golf course, play around a golf, experience something comes up in life, and I end up not being able to go. But you were at Loyalist Country Club. Sorry, Jeffrey James.
Yes.
I really did want to make it down, and I'm hoping that I can just do a day trip sometime, play the golf course, and we can talk then. But
Well,
you
I
were
was
down
able
Loyalist.
to take out a community member, which was kind of nice.
Oh, there you go.
One of our Flagstick community members. So he joined me for the day. So that was nice. But yeah, I mean, let's like quickly here. I mean, Loyalist Country Club in Bath. I mean, we have a long history with this facility.
Yes, very much so.
Going back to its
Original.
origins. Yes, 9 holes.
Garth.
Going back, Garth Bent, the original owner. This is going back almost 30 years here now. Going out and being some of the very first people to play this golf course. So we've seen it. We've seen the evolution all the way. And it's quite interesting because even when I was there to have a look at it, there was a couple of people that were asking me about that because their experiences were 2 years, 10 years, even Jeff James. Jeff has been there a long time, but he wasn't there since the start. So, definitely some questions as far as the transformation. But I should say, the community is really growing here.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned an article on our website that what it's nice to see is that as golf courses progress, they need a touch up every now and then, especially when we get to that 20-30 year mark. And it was clear there's some things that needed some touching up or whatever. And you know what, kudos to Caitlin Group. They're putting in the money, millions. And basically, if you look at the redone bunkers, that was the significant aspect of it. If you'd visited Loyalist in the last couple of years, the bunkers were starting to show some age. You can see the edging wasn't quite as good. The sand was starting to fill up with some rocks. You start to see some weediness or whatever, and they're pristine now. And
Beautiful.
That's fabulous. And on top of that, whole new cart fleet, some new tee boxes and stuff they're building as well. They're obviously making some transformation as far as where they're they're building some of their housing in their community around the golf course, so that's reshaping some of the different pathways and looks. So they're building some new tees to adapt to that, but they're also putting in some new tees just to better the tees, specifically on holes like 4 and 5. Brand new back tees there. They'll be level, bigger, so that especially on the par 3, that's one thing a lot of par 3s have at a lot of golf courses. The tee boxes are too small, so it's really hard to have fresh, good turf all the time or whatever. And the greens have come back there. They had some issues with them last year, but Josh Whalen's doing a great job as a superintendent, and nice to see the upgrades and to get down there. And I think there's an invitation open if you want to come back down and actually.
Well, I do want to, because I know you talked about how much the housing development has started to kind of I want to use the right word here. It's kind of overwhelm the golf course a little bit, but not not take away from the golf course,
No.
just it's more apparent. Kind of like I
Yes.
think when we first played Barefoot Landing down in Myrtle,
Myrtle Beach.
and then we came back like 5 years later,
Yeah.
and the same golf course, nothing had changed with the golf course, but all of a sudden there was like 1,000 houses.
Yeah.
And
So
and it just makes a big difference in when you start to see
right.
the subdivisions and start to move in around the golf course, and there isn't a lot of this extra wasted green space around the golf course. Now you've got like Canada,
Yeah, for
like
sure.
Canada Golf Club, where notice I did not say Canada Lakes. People,
Thank
it
God.
is not
Please.
Canada Lakes anymore.
I only correct that 100
The
times a year.
housing development is Canada
Canada
Lakes.
Lakes.
The golf course is Canada Golf and Country Club. Okay,
Correct.
so stop it. You're killing me.
Please.
But a lot like that, where it just things start to kind of Stonebridge as well. Stonebridge the same way that but Stonebridge the housing development did sort of start to take pieces of the golf course away.
Yeah, I think what happens here though is we notice it, or
I move my hands like this.
People are you Italian or something?
I don't know.
If people have been to the golf course over the years, they might notice it. But if you're a new golfer coming and showing up,
wouldn't care.
You wouldn't know the difference, and it wouldn't bother you at all. So, but yeah, nice upgrades there. Nice to see reinvestment, as we've talked about on the show.
Yes,
it's seeing golf courses, and I hear there's more coming for Loyalist. Has not been announced yet, but they have some things regarding their clubhouse and stuff that are happening as well. But yeah, we'll make that official once it gets announced.
Okay, so cool. Kingston's own Ashton McCulloch.
Yep,
is a junior, currently a junior at Michigan State, and playing the Canadian Open this weekend, the RBC Canadian Open.
He is.
He signed
NIL deal,
an NIL deal with TaylorMade.
He did, so
which is cool. That's awesome. We had to post it on one of the most recent newsletters. Story up on flagstick.com about it. But do you like just a few more details on just so.
Yeah, so Ashton won the 2023 Canadian Men's Amateur and playing the NCAA. They have these name, image, and likeness deals that are allowed now with amateur status or so forth. So he was already playing equipment, like going TaylorMade equipment as it was, going back to his days with Team Ontario. So this just kind of formalizes it and allows TaylorMade to basically, make content around him, use his actual likeness and so forth, because, they're not allowed to do that unless they have the endorsement. That's why if people see manufacturers talking about, we had a player finish second and they don't mention their name, the reason is because they don't have a formal agreement with that player. So this is a formal agreement. It basically it allows them to do that content. You'll see some content coming out. He's got something happening. They filmed with Bo Levi Mitchell from the Hamilton Ticats and him and two other players, and that piece will be coming out soon. They did that at Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton, but good for Ashton, and hopefully he has a great week at the Canadian Open. His first experience there. He is still an amateur, as you mentioned. He's a junior at Michigan State. Did have a win this year, but he's heading back to school after this, so it just puts a few coins in his pocket that he's allowed to have, and formalizes his agreement with TaylorMade.
Cool. There you go.
Yeah.
We did a little preview show last week on the RBC Canadian Open. We really didn't get into some of the external storylines that might develop, with the event. But some things happened this week, which do tend to happen during Canadian Open week.
That's a busy week.
It is a busy week. But Deep River Golf Club and Royal Ottawa Golf Club were both recognized at Hamilton Country Club on Tuesday as part of the Canadian Golf Hall of Fame lunch.
Yep.
As the National Junior Facility Awards. Deep River won for the grassroots program, and Royal Ottawa won, no surprise, for the competitive program. Obviously, Royal Ottawa tends to produce. There's a fair number of very highly competitive golfers that come out of Royal Ottawa and their program there, and obviously we're quite familiar with Derek McDonald is a good friend of yours, good friend of mine, good friend of Flagstick's, and he has quite a few players that come out of his program that have done very well on the provincial, the national, and the collegiate stage.
Yep, for sure. So it was nice to see them recognized. They basically have the Hall of Fame luncheon Lisa Meldrum was the inductee. We've mentioned that before on the podcast. So she was the inductee this year, and a number of Hall of Fame members were there. And then they
Damn, I
had
missed again, eh?
yeah, sorry. And then they have the this recognition right afterwards with the Junior Facility Awards. So a number of clubs across the country that were recognized for this, and it's good for Golf Canada to be doing this, and especially during this week. And you're seeing lots of different programs during this week. As you mentioned, it is a busy week. One thing I saw yesterday involved with the Golf Superintendents Association and First Tee, there was all sorts of field trips going on yesterday. There's close to a couple thousand kids on property yesterday
For
being
practice
toured
rounds
around.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, being toured around, show the background of how everything works. The kids that were doing the CGSA program were getting to spend time with the turf grass team and seeing how they prepare the course and so forth. And it's a cool field trip. They drag kids into the media room, put them up on the podium. They get to kind of see what that aspect looks like, and who knows, it might pique their interest. And really, I mean, if you look back, Mackenzie Hughes this week was speaking about the fact that, he attended the Canadian Open at Hamilton in 2003 and 2006 and was getting autographs. He was a caddy during the Pro-Am, got to ask questions to, and I think that he was a caddy at the Glen Abbey one, and he got to ask questions of Mike Weir and so forth. So, anything that sparks their interest and lets them know kind of what it's about and lets them get inside the gates too. I mean, this is an elite private club. And you don't know what kind of opportunity that they're going to see out of this. So good to get the kids involved and have them out there, and it's good stuff to have all these different things happening during the week, not just just not the PGA Tour stuff as well. So
yeah. Now that's something cool. Little side note of information. We said officially the record. This is the record for the most number of Canadians in the RBC Canadian Open at 28. But
yep.
Is it 28? Is it 29?
Yeah.
Unofficially 29 with the addition of, I'm going to get this wrong, Alistair Doherty.
Oh, you got it. Bang on.
A KFT player who was born in St. John, New Brunswick.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
Unofficially 29, if you're born in St. John, New Brunswick, you're Canadian.
He didn't take Canadian citizenship.
Doesn't matter.
I know, but it's the same as people will look back and say, it's like Jason Kokrak. Jason Kokrak was born in North Bay, but he grew up in Ohio and he was just born here. That was about it. His mom was from up here, whatever.
Canadian.
But hey, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, that's Canadian.
You're
too.
Canadian.
So,
sorry, Mr. Doherty.
Yeah,
since I got your name right.
Oh no,
you're not an honorary Canadian. You are a Canadian,
and he's definitely proud of his Canadian roots. He made mention of that, and he kind of worked his way into the field, which is great to see. So, I wish a few more places sort of picked up on that, and I was hoping with some of our posts that maybe they did. And even though the flag is there, you got to understand and dig in a little bit to know the details and recognize that all you have to do is look at his PGA Tour, Corn Ferry Tour profile, and you'll see it says St. John, New Brunswick. So
now what little flag is beside his name on the leaderboard?
US.
You can't have him. Sorry.
That's a citizenship, but we're taking him. We're taking him.
Rory McIlroy very happy to return to the course where he closed with a 61 with a bogey on 18, as a matter of fact, which is
he flared a 5-iron into the bunker. And the one thing that he said during his press conference was that he was obviously thinking about making the 59. He had eagled 17, and then he flares this 5-iron into the bunker, makes a bogey, and then said, I better smile because I've just won the tournament. Even though in for himself,
he's thinking birdie.
Yeah, he's thinking birdie.
Well, why wouldn't you? 59. Because by that time he was up by how many did he win by?
A bunch. I think he won by 6 or 7.
Yeah, he was up by a bunch. So at that point, you're winning. You might as well be thinking about the 59, right?
Yeah, why not?
Not like you need a birdie to win or a par to win.
Yeah,
you need to make a quintuple bogey to get to a playoff.
Yeah, what I like though, and you'll see the quote pulled out here, was just the fact that they asked obviously the players about the renovation of the golf course and what they saw for changes. And even though the golf course is only 70 yards longer than it was in 2019. The massive restoration that they did really changed the look of it as well. And getting the feedback that from the players was really important. And generally, a lot of players will obviously always play nice when they see this, that when things like this happen, and they'll, I like the course and whatever, and you're wondering what they're going to say sort of privately and stuff. But you could tell by the tone of him, for an example, of what he said during the press conference, is that he genuinely likes the changes, and they know the golf course is a little bit tougher, and they like what's been done to the golf course. I don't know if you want to dig into that quote. I can if you like.
Yeah. Do you want to go ahead and read the quote?
Sure. He just said, I think some of the greens are a lot slopier. A lot of green complexes have more runoffs, even though the greens are quite big. They play maybe a little bit smaller than they actually are. I think the penalties for missing are just a little more penal. You've got that longer rough around the bunkers. The rough is very, very thick this week. Then, yeah, you missed the green slightly, and those really fast runoffs. The ball could run 20, 30 yards off the green. Obviously, it will be tough to get it down from some of those places. I think there's a little bit more precision needed with this redesign, and that was echoed by a number of players that day and since then. So I talked to a few caddies, even though Rory at one, I think he was 21 under. The word I heard from most of the caddies was really kind of 12 to 16 under. So a little bit harder, but it might identify a different player as well, depending on their skill set. And I think we mentioned that as well. It's
I love what they've done. I love the fescue grass around the backsides of the bunkers. Like it just. And I love the fact that they've and you know what? I know as we're this is sort of as we're closing out the front nine here, so I'm just going to bring this up too.
Please do.
I was having a conversation with my son Brandon, who is kind of into the whole turf grass golf course architecture, and he made a comment that he's noticed that a lot of golf courses lately are going backwards in design, going back to bringing the golf courses back to what they were originally were, and finding sort of those old blueprints and those old looks and old images, and trying to bring the golf courses back to the way they looked when they were first built.
Yeah, the original intentions of
exactly, because I think that's one of the things when it comes to golf course architecture, especially older golf courses, when they were designed, everything about them was designed with a specific intent. Like any other golf course architectural design, the golf course was designed to play a certain way, and then over time they made changes to modernize, make
whatever
it longer. Whatever the current trend was, they just added it on to whatever was there. And then what ends up happening is you end up with this golf course that is no longer playing. It's just like stuff is just where stuff is. Greens are doing what greens are doing. Like it's just not, it's not the way it was supposed to be. So then you see them, hey, you know what? We're going to bring, and people love that kind of stuff. People love when you go retro. It's like a hockey jersey. When you see your favorite team go back to their original jersey, unless you're one of the original six that never changes it. You go back to your original jersey or the retro jersey, and people are just like, oh my God, I love let's go back to that. Well, golf courses are no different. Like when you take I would love, we were joking about this morning because it'll never happen, but obviously we live very close to Metcalfe Golf Course.
Right.
We were just saying, I mean, it'd be great if Metcalfe would go back to the original 9-hole course, go back to its original design, go bring that stuff that was there back when it was originally built back in the current age where turf grass management is better, so the golf course would be in better shape than it might have been back there, but it would have those features of some of those bunkers that were originally there that they took away, bring those back. Understandably, why they took some of these things and made these changes, I understand that. It's a management thing, it's a cost thing. I get that. Totally. When you have unlimited cost, you don't mind doing these things, but it would be kind of cool if you look at old pictures of some of these golf courses. Go, oh my God, there was a bunker there. There was a the tee box was back there. The fairway shaped like that. That's so awesome.
Yeah, I mean they're living, breathing things that obviously change over time, and some of the changes have to be made because of
Trees
time.
grow.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
we're seeing
Yeah.
a lot of tree programs, a lot of golf courses to, because they are the enemy of the grass, to make things a little bit
Damn
healthier.
trees.
And yeah, not every golf course is in a position to spend $11.5 million. So but yes, you're right. I mean, when you start to look, things just change over time. I know I'm working at golf courses. It was very often where all of a sudden it was like, okay, we can't really afford as much bunker maintenance, so let's shut down those bunkers, let's change those. You're doing green cutting, and next thing you know, the green is much smaller or bigger than it was before. This type of mower is available, so let's do this. It's so those things might be little, but they obviously accrue over time, and that's what you see. And then it's really jarring sometimes when you can go back and look at the original stuff. And in this case, looking back at Harry Colt's original design stuff for Hamilton was amazing, just to see the look and the feel of it. And it's not authentically, they're not just taking the golf course and putting it back to that, otherwise it would be 6,500 yards. But what they're doing is they're trying to, as you say, keep the original intent of the architect,
Yeah.
but modernize it, and so that it's a nice perfect marriage between the past and the future, so that this golf course can look ahead to hosting obviously other great big events, and obviously pleasing the membership as well, as one of the best golf courses in the country.
Yeah, exactly. What a great place for a President's Cup sometime. Anyway,
That would be a great one.
oh,
Yeah.
it would be a fantastic one. Anyways, all right. Let's call it there. Last thing, flagstick.com shootout presented by Cobra Puma Golf at Smuggler's Glen. Registration's open. Register now. 72 player field. So first come, first serve, people. That's all I
Yeah.
got to say. Indexes are not really relevant. It is a stronger field generally. So I would suggest that if you're higher than a 10, that maybe you know, understand what you're getting yourself into.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't care. We had
No, come enjoy the weekend.
we had a player last year play that was over a 10 index, and he had a great weekend
Yep.
despite, wanted to challenge himself, see what he was capable of doing against. You don't normally get those opportunities. See what you're capable of doing against some really good players, but lots of opportunity there. Want to see you there. Good registration packages always. So get to flagstick.com or flagstickshootout.com and register because the spots are going quick and we have to cut it off soon. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to talk U.S. Women's Open at Lancaster, and there's a trivia game in there somewhere. We'll see what that's all about too. But we'll do that after the break. Stay with us. You're watching the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod. Stay with us. We will be right back.
Why play the all-new TaylorMade TP5 and 5X? Because your ball should be longer, like half a club longer. Your ball should be more consistent from the fairway. Your ball should feel softer for better control around the greens. But most of all, your ball should perform like it was built just for you. Play the #1 ball for you, the all-new TP5 and 5X, only from TaylorMade.
Well, welcome back to the Flagstick podcast. I'm Jeff Botter. He's Scott McLeod, and we're bringing you some back nine. We're bringing some back nine stuff. Should be fun. Back nine presented by Celtic Golf Center, located only 20 minutes from Ottawa and Kemptville. Celtic Golf Center is indoor golf at another level, featuring 5 state-of-the-art TrackMan sims and 2 Unicore sims with GS Pro. Celtic Golf Center can now offer over 10,000 golf course options for you to play. Play rounds with friends, practice with full swing analysis, and play golf games. Visit CelticGolfCenter.com to learn more, to book those tee times. All right, out to Lancaster. Lancaster we go. Unfortunately, it is unfortunate. We were just talking about this off the air, off the record, about doing live shows versus doing recorded shows, obviously, because as we're recording this podcast on Thursday, May the 30th, most people will probably be listening to it within the next couple of days. But you just came on and said, well, that changes things. Nelly Corda just made a 10.
Yeah.
And we're part of what we're going to discuss on the show here is your favorites, and I guess that just kind of shoots that to the pooper, you know.
Well,
Chances of winning after making a 10 on a par 3 are I mean, not impossible by any means. We're talking about Nelly Korda here, but
sure.
sadly,
Yeah.
we might already know the outcome of whether she makes or doesn't make the cut by the time anybody's listening to the podcast. But
and the thing is, it's hard to say because of the fact it's a U.S. Women's Open, so the cut line's probably going to be pretty high as it is. But yeah, the fact that she's +9 through 6 holes is not something anyone expected. But and we might look at doing some things. We'll say it's additional content rather than just the regular podcast. So we, as far as for people, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you never know, we'll do
see what we do.
Maybe we'll jump on, maybe do a live from one of our events or stuff like that, or when we get together, we can do a short live or something. Who knows? We can maybe even do some Instagram lives where we do some Q&As and stuff like that too. So lots of different
situation.
Things.
All right,
for sure.
Well, let's talk about the U.S. Open, U.S. Women's Open in Lancaster Country Club now, did they call it the Lancaster Country Club in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, or they call it the Lancaster Country Club in Lancaster, Pennsylvania?
No, so for the sake of obviously this podcast, we're kind of playing it on Ancaster, Lancaster, but yeah, it's Lancaster if you're in Pennsylvania.
Is it Ancaster?
No, that's a good question though. The funny part is if you're in England, it's Lancaster.
We'll put that in your dumb trivia thing at the end, right? There.
Yeah, if you're in England, it's Lancaster, but yeah, so but they call it Lancaster in that part of Pennsylvania. But for the sake of this, we'll interchange it.
Yes, okay. That? So we do know that Brooke Henderson and Maude-Aimee Leblanc are in the field this week.
Yeah.
And
that's our
exciting
Canadian content. Yeah,
that's exciting. It's not 29 Canadians, but it's
no.
We don't have as many Canadian women on the LPGA, so
the chances
of that many
harder.
Definitely, because that's an open qualify unless you're pre-qualified.
Right. Yes, exactly.
That's not an open. It's not a. It's not an easy tournament to get into, with it being that sort of sectional qualifying, regional qualifying kind of setup that a U.S. Open has, which is what makes the U.S. Open so amazing.
Yeah,
and the Canadian and RBC did it this year too. They did the regional qualifying, and then they did the sectional. Or so the regional qualifying was to get to the Monday qualifier.
Correct.
That's my
understanding. That's how they've been doing it for a number of years. So
now the U.S. Open's a little different. It's regional, sectional, or is it sectional, regional?
They do,
and then final qualifying. But the final qualifying is not. Is that the Monday qualifier? Or
no. They don't have a Monday qualifier. So basically,
they don't have a Monday qualifier for the U.S. Open.
It's still 2 stages. They do a local qualifier, which are more regional ones across I'll say the country, but there is Canadian content there. And then next Monday, they will have 10 final qualifiers, which will do, and those are 36 holes, and they determine the last spots for players. So in this case for Canada, there's one taking place on Monday in Ridgeway, Ontario, at Cherry Hill Club, and there's 66 Canadians playing, or 66 players in that field. 19 of them are Canadian. I'll have a little bit of something on that. I know I'm going to post it. I've got the whole field and things for that, but that will take place on Monday. That's one of the 10 final sectional qualifiers for the U.S. Open. But yeah, it's different. And the same for the men and the women. It's not a regular PGA Tour event. So it's not like if you have a PGA Tour card, you're in the U.S. Open, and it's not if like you have an LPGA card, you're in the U.S. Open.
No.
There's a ranking system. Yeah. They take certain players based on rankings, obviously past performances in the U.S. Opens, both of them, and then away we go. So we might have 5 LPGA Tour players from Canada, but all of a sudden 2 kind of make their way through. But I should say Alena Sharp, who didn't get through, is top 5 right now at the Colorado Open, which is a big event that takes place this week as well, with $100,000 up for first prize. And there's a bunch of Canadians that are over and playing there. But I digress. Let's talk more about the U.S. Women's Open. I was
going to say, we are just like bouncing all over the place there. It's like one of those little friggin' rubber balls there. Super balls. Okay, so U.S. Women's Open is using Shotcast this week for tracking.
Yeah, because
Which
there's
is
usually nothing. There's usually nothing for the on the
right.
women's side of things,
Which is
right?
this
So
is great. It's like
yeah,
ShotLink that they use on the PGA Tour, right?
yeah,
But even
uh,
better.
yeah, I think so.
So take note, PGA Tour. This is supposed to
Yeah,
be better. It gives shot data on each shot, like the ball speed, spin, apex, and much like what you see, like I mean, what you're seeing right now, where the shot tracking, it says
right.
your
Yeah,
apex is 93 feet. Um, it also shows the green flows and breaks on the surface and stuff like that. So this is really cool because this is the part of interactivity of golf, your viewing experience on television that I'd like. Unlike
mm-hmm.
hockey, where they put like blue lines and red
Glowing
lines and
putts.
stuff, it's just like okay, or they put I don't know what they're doing now with the putting the stupid words over top of the players as they're
Oh,
skating around
for the ads
with
and
their
stuff. Yeah,
data. It's like,
yeah.
you know what?
Oh yeah, yeah,
This is stupid. I do
yeah,
not care if dude's
yeah,
skating 20 kilometers an hour,
yeah.
and I don't care what his pattern is on the ice, and I don't and I see the name on the back of his jersey. I don't need to see it over his head.
Yeah.
Like, and they do that with NASCAR racing now too, where they put the things over top of them,
Yeah.
the little trackers and
Yeah, I
whatever.
mean, some of the stuff's fine. I think the significant part here is that the LPGA does manual statistics. So if you're out caddying on the LPGA tour and you're a caddy, you get handed a little card, and you have to put in all the details. So some of the things that you see in the KPG or KPMG insights, those are all manually recorded. So it's not like you have a shot link system that's out there that's going, this is how far the drive went, this is how far they're away from the hole, this is how many putts they had. Those are manually recorded, so they're not really that accurate.
Well, this is
So
great.
so this is a big step up. And I was having a look at this morning. This is how I was following Maude-Aimee Leblanc this morning. It's got 3D imagery showing the shot trails. You can actually kind of see where there are. You can see, where they place the ball in the green, how the breaks are and how severe they are from those directions. It's kind of what they deserve. And the USGA is really stepping up with the Women's Open, not only with the purse, and they announced as well that, the purse, they're going to the formula that 20% of the purse goes to the winner, which is an upgrade here. So I think the winner this week gets 2.4 million. But this is just great to see. And you said that level of interactivity, whether people like it or not, it gives you the option to have a look at that. And if
Wow.
that's your deal, you go look at it. And I just got USGA updates on green speeds, how much water they used on the course, their setup today. They just send those out in alerts, which, again, we post them up there. Some people might like it, some people might not care, but the good part is that there's more for people to chew on, and it makes the experience better. And as I said, it's kind of what they deserve.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, Brooke finished T5 in 2015
At Lancaster.
at,
At
at Lancaster.
We're going to be doing this the whole.
I know it's your freaking fault too.
I'm
So
sorry.
you should just left well enough alone because nobody cared. Now it's
No,
in
they
my
do.
head.
They do. That's the thing. If you say it, and then all of a sudden people say it's not Lancaster, it's Lancaster. I'm like, okay,
All
okay.
right, well then
Yeah.
spell it Lin.
Yeah.
One of her three top, which was one of her top three finishes at the U.S. Women's Open. So, she was quoted as saying earlier in the week that she really likes the challenge of majors like the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
I say, quote, yeah, everything is a little bit harder. I would say the course is a bit longer, the rough is a bit longer, the greens are a lot quicker, more slope, just everything about it. You've really got to pay attention and have strategy. But then when that strategy doesn't work, you need to be gritty and kind of figure out how to grind it out. I mean, that kind of sums up what a lot of players say about major championships is that everything is elevated to another level.
Yeah.
And
but some people are scared by that, right?
Yeah, and some people aren't, and they relish that. And I think, maybe part of that is when you know that your game, you know that you're long enough, and you know that you're strong enough, and you know your game can handle a course that's here.
Yeah.
Then that's what separates
correct
the players.
Totally.
And I think
100%.
Brooks Koepka, as much as sometimes I don't really like some of the verbiage that comes out of his mouth,
that's a separation that
but that's what he always said, is
right.
like he tees it up in a major, and he knows that right off the bat 50% of the field is gone.
Right. Yeah.
They can't handle this kind of thing. So I don't have to beat 150 guys.
Right.
I start off the week knowing I only have to beat 75. Well, now I'm going to make the cut, and half of those guys, like, you know what I mean? It's just, you start to decrease. Then you realize at the end of the day, well, I really only have to beat about 25 guys.
Right. Yeah.
So that brings the things into perspective. Now, it sounds arrogant, but it's not really when you look at the analytics of it. You know, you tee it up and you know that mentally you're strong enough to handle whatever comes at you. Physically, you can handle the conditions that you're playing in. Your skill is at a level that's higher than more than 50% of the field. So why wouldn't you go into it thinking I've only got about 30 guys to beat? So this is really quite. Whereas if you tee it up in like the John Deere Classic,
everybody can score
all
low.
of a sudden the guy that's the 150th in the event and has only played 2 PGA Tour events. Potentially could win that week.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if all of a sudden somebody goes in there and they can hit the ball off the planet and they can still score, it takes away maybe some advantage that you have. And I'll go back, and I still remember a CPKC Women's Open where the greens were 12-7 and, going super fast. And, you saw the difference in the players. And this is the same this week. They're in the high 11s here at the US Women's Open. You have to hit different shots around the green. You have to have different skill sets to be able to tackle this golf course. And, when you get a player that's at the highest level, and, obviously Brooke is continually in the top 10 in the world, for her, she said, it's just a lot of fun. It's a great challenge. Whereas a lot of other people are like, man, I'm scared. I don't know if I can hit this shot. I got to go practice this. I want to avoid that shot because I don't have it. And they get themselves in trouble. So, it says a lot to her about her mentality. Obviously, she's won 2 majors, and they like that separation, and it's no offense to all the other, golf courses that are played, week in and week out on the particular tours. I mean, they are what they are, and the players have to eke their way past the other players in some way. But you're right. Generally, when you see the majors, you'll see the players either playing super well or just the highly skilled player in general that kind of makes their way to the top, and that's just the way it is. So
there's always somebody. You look at the PGA Championship last year, and excuse me, and you look at Michael Block.
Sure.
I mean, good player and everything, but come on.
Yeah, but that's the anomaly that goes in there, where somebody is just there on for the week, and their ability to sustain that over a long period of time is totally different. And that's why you would pick Xander Schauffele in 10 PGA championships over a T15 finish by Michael Block, because Michael Block's going to do it one time, and that's whenever that's it. That's it. Whereas Xander can obviously be in the mix. You're not saying he's going to win every time, but they've got the skill level to separate themselves from the players. And the fact that, Brooke likes this and just likes the atmosphere, as she said, that when you walk into the major championship or US Women Open, it's different than every other week. It's a bit more exciting, a bit more adrenaline, and it's just really fun. And then when she says that, she really believes it. Sometimes when you hear Brooke talk, she'll say, I'm excited, and she just says it generically. But this is really true, and you can sense it, having known her for a long time, but and watch this press conference, you can tell when she says it, she means it. It's fun. She might not succeed, and she knows that, but it's that extra bit of challenge that makes it a little bit different.
Now, Maude-Aimee is playing in her 4th US Women's Open, as she has made the cut in her all three of her previous attempts at the US Open. Now, hasn't had really high finishes, and but making the cut is half the battle, obviously, and she certainly is playing well enough to make cuts. So she just needs to kind of find her game has changed a lot too. And I mean, I go back years and years and years, the first times that we first started watching Maude-Aimee playing as an amateur, watched her play at the
CPK Women's Open,
the Women's Open was at the Hunt, and then she just kind of And she didn't disappear. I'm not going to
No,
say
she
that,
had,
but she kind of fell off a little bit as
yeah,
to what she was tracking towards
sure.
as an
Yeah.
amateur. And
Yeah.
then to see her, she did the mini tours, the small tours. She worked herself back up to where she is now.
She retired for a little bit.
Yeah, like,
She came back. Yeah.
she rediscovered herself, she rediscovered her game or something
Yeah.
new, and now she's playing really well and
Yeah.
earning spots in major championships like this. So it's great to see.
I think she's really, when I saw her a couple of years ago, when they were back at Ottawa Hunt, just, saw her for a short period of time, kind of up close and kind of in the same circles, chatting and stuff like that. You can just see that, she's a lot more happy personally with her personal life
Yeah.
and just life in general and stuff like that, where she always put too much into it and maybe got too frustrated before. She realizes that the opportunity that lays ahead, I think she's a little bit more fun person now. I mean, she was posting Instagram images the other night. She was playing tennis and just casually, like a lot of other players would be sweating it, or Maude-Aimee back in the day would be sweating it.
Mm-hmm.
She'd be like grinding out, maybe get hurt or whatever like this. And, she realizes that not everything is just golf. And I think that sort of lends into her attitude. She was pretty fiery when she was at Purdue, had some issues there from a discipline standpoint. She'd walk off the golf course, all sorts of different things. But yeah, she's in a better spot now since she's came back. And obviously hurt her back last year and came back this year. Hasn't had the greatest starts, but she's showing a lot of promise, and she showed a lot of promise already this week early. And as well, I think we failed to mention here a little bit. Brooke did say that she feels better this week. Now she doesn't tee off till this afternoon, which obviously this afternoon is not relevant to probably most people listening to this podcast, but the afternoon in the first round of the US Women's Open. And she says, she's had a few bumps in the road through the little swing in New Jersey. She kind of didn't play as well as she expected or whatever, but as always, she feels like she's trending in kind of the right direction. So we'll see what she can do, and if she can rekindle, kind of the same feelings that she had in 2015 at Lancaster. And see if she can make something happen here.
Okay, so some picks. At the top of both of our lists, I think
easily.
We're kind of like Nelly Korda playing her 10th U.S. Women's Open, has two top 10 finishes. Is this her year? She hasn't won a U.S. Open, a women's U.S. Open yet. So was this her year? No.
Well,
okay, you know what? I don't want to count. Okay, look of all the players in the field, to not count out, this would be like counting out Scotty Scheffler when he's
right.
Starts off like this. He's not in prison.
He was. He was in jail.
He was in jail.
But yes, we didn't count him out.
Okay.
We didn't count him out.
Don't be starting rumors. Jail is not prison.
I know. I understand.
But yes, you weren't counting him out. You can't count her out. She can drop a bunch of birdies, make the cut. But I mean, I don't know what she's at now, but she's probably like 6 or 7 over. 9 over. Man, that's I'm sorry, but that's a tough one. If you make a 10, on a par 5. Yeah, that's 5 over. You make a 10 on a par 3.
Thing is,
that's 7 over.
The cut could be like 5 over. It's an open. Right?
Yeah, like she could. Okay, so we're not going to count out Nelly Korda, but she certainly slipped from the top of the list down to somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, it's a
but
lot
you
tougher.
had a couple. You had a couple on your list that just. I mean, you don't go into too much detail, but why don't you spell out your two, because I know we got to get to this ridiculous trivia thing that you got going on here too.
I know it's low hanging fruit because they're players that play well and have had good finishes.
Tiger Woods to win a tournament,
but yeah, Lydia Ko. She finished 5th in the U.S. Women's Open in 2022. She's at 5 top 15s, 2 top 10s, and I haven't looked at where she's at in the leaderboard, to be fair, but I just know her accuracy level is super high, and that's very, very important at this golf course. And then Hannah Green, she's won twice as well this year. She's trending at the top of the LPGA moneyless. She's really close there. I mean, everybody's chasing Nelly, of course, who's won 6 times. But Hannah's proven she can play well in U.S. Women's Open. She was T13 last year. She got married this year, so she's had a kind of a different, change in her life. But in talking to her caddy a little bit as well, I mean, it's just they're cruising. So I wouldn't be surprised with the confidence level that she has, that she could definitely show some success here this week. So I wouldn't ignore her. And she's also won a major championship before. So, that lends itself well into this because, there is a pressure that obviously comes with a major championship. And the cool part for this would be for Lydia, if she wins, that puts her in the World Golf Hall of Fame.
Well, it would be this would be a nice way to go in.
Yeah,
to win a major championship. Now, myself,
I like your picks.
here's how this is going down. I am done
with picks.
Done with picks and trying to predict who is going to win golf tournaments.
Oh, it's so random.
It is very random.
Yeah.
The logical choice is Court, obviously, but I'd also like the way that Rojang is playing right now. She did win a couple weeks ago. She's young. She's full of what and vinegar. And
especially on this golf course where it's super hilly and takes a lot of energy to play it.
I give her a good shot at it, but there's a lot of players that could easily win this week. So my picks are no picks. That's how I'm doing this. I'm going with the wide open. Is this how when you do the bet, you do like it's the odds are 250 to 1 for Nelly Korda and 100 to 1 here, or you can take the field. I'm gonna take the field.
And you know what, you're bang on. I mean, people have to realize that trying to handicap players as far as guessing who's going to win based on certain things, you can be informed to a certain point, and people will be, they obviously gloat and revel in the fact that when a player does succeed.
Yeah.
But I guarantee it's mostly a lot of luck. You can't, even if a player is on form. I mean, I think you'll see a lot of fizzle and sizzle at tournaments, mostly the
trademark.
Other way. Mostly the other way. And I was talking about that this morning. You watch those early leaderboards and you see those players, they're like, oh, he's 3 under through 4. And then next thing you look at the board and there's 76. Golf 18-hole game, until they get in the clubhouse, until they get it done on Sunday night. There's so many factors. It's so hard to figure out, and predict. So, it's
a lot of emphasis on the
Yeah, I think it's just easier to say, okay, these are notable players. They're doing some notable things, but whether they win or not, who knows? So, all right, the game.
Okay, so do you want to talk the game, or do you want to talk about Lexi? Okay,
yeah, let's do Lexi.
So, shocking news across the world of golf. Shocking news across the world of golf today. LPGA Tour star. Be serious. Lexi Thompson announced that she will retire after this season.
Retire from full-time golf.
Full-time. So she probably will play a very limited schedule of events based on her current standing on the LPGA Tour and sponsors exemptions and so on and so forth. But she's just 29. The last time I recall, we'll get into Lexi. The last time I recall something like this happening was with Lorena Ochoa. I'm not sure how old she was, but I got to think it was around about the same age.
A little different reasoning though, but
she wanted to start a family and all that kind of stuff, and she had her priorities were on starting a family.
But in general, it's really about the next chapter of their life, right? And you look at a player like Lexi. She's been a pro for 14 years.
I know, and that's crazy. I heard her when she did her interview
press conference,
conference, and she was very emotional about it. She was talking about how she's been out on the as a professional golfer on the tour and I'm thinking 14 years. No, there's no way. But then when you do the math, a lot of the top elite level LPGA Tour stars started their careers at 17, 18 years old. Brooke did.
She's playing her 18th U.S. Women's Open this week.
Yeah, 18th. I know, that's insane.
Yeah. So I think people have to realize is it's their expectations. And one of the things that I heard this week from a couple of people was like, oh, well, hopefully she comes back. No. Just be happy for her.
Yeah, no, hopefully she comes back.
Decided it's her reasons, her decision. And, here's the thing. I think we'll see this trend happening more, and it's going to probably happen more in sports for particular reasons. And we'll get into that in a second, just briefly or whatever. But, we've got to be happy for her. She's, said sometimes there's been, periods in her career where she's had to take some time off just because mentally she's been under a lot of pressure, a lot of public scrutiny, a lot of different things. And she wants to see what life is like outside of doing this every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And what I find weird is that, people are chopping at her, and we said she's been a pro for 14 years. Take any other sport where somebody has been a pro for 14 years and you go, oh, congratulations, it's been a great career. If it's hockey, I mean, football, the average is like 3 years. I mean, it's just, if somebody did 14 years in the NHL, what do? You don't blink,
Yeah.
if they get to 14 years.
Yeah.
So
physically and mentally, it is a drain. And to be able to stay at the top of the heap for that length of time. Now, I know, her game has sort of fallen off a little bit in the last little while, but
sure, mostly due to injuries.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is like it takes its toll on you physically, it takes its toll on you mentally.
Yeah.
I think that, I'm not saying that her announcement had anything to do with the recent events with Grayson Murray. But
No,
I'm sure that things like that put things into perspective for people.
I agree.
And maybe she had always, maybe this was something that was on her mind for a while, that she was planning on making this announcement before the US Open,
Yes.
Whatever the case may be. But events like what happened with Grayson Murray at the young age of 30, just kind of put things into perspective, like what really is important,
Right.
Now, is it a little bit easier maybe for somebody like Lexi Thompson, who's had a successful LPGA Tour career, who's made a lot of money, who has a lot of endorsements, to make a decision to walk away from the game because she's probably financially set for the rest of her life anyway and doesn't need golf to validate her life or to put food on the table? And it's a little harder for somebody who is at the bottom of the heap on the LPGA, that's similar age, been out there grinding it, not making a lot of money, and wants to do this. Well, here's the thing. If you've been out there that long and you're grinding it out that long and you're still not making a lot of like a reasonable amount of money and endorsements and stuff like that, then it might be time to kind of shift gears into something that is a little bit more stable and using your golf for something that, is, but if you want to be out there grinding, then be out there grinding. That's your prerogative.
I think that's the hard part, like any athlete, is that, it becomes their identity. And I think some of them don't want it to be their identity, but I think you're right. I mean, I think you're going to see this more because there's more money to be made now versus back in the day where, there wasn't a lot of money and they knew they're going to have to get onto another career and whatever the case may be. They're going to make it in a short period of time, but they're also under increased pressure as far as media spotlight, performance expectations, as we said, injury risks. So as a result of it, don't be surprised if you see more of this in the future. So
okay, let's get to your little trivia game here. We got about 8 minutes, less than 8 minutes before we have to wrap this up, or TikTok goes the clock. So trivia.
All right,
Ancaster or Lancaster?
You got it.
Or so Lancaster.
Lancaster. So this is a number of facts.
So you're going to ask me these questions, and you already know the answer. So
I do. So all right. 6 little things here.
We need like a little ding. I'll put a little audio of a ding if I get some right, or a big X like the freaking Family Feud thing.
Buzzer. So do they apply to Ancaster or Lancaster?
All right.
Are you ready? So this is Ancaster, Ontario, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which are really not that far apart. All right. Okay. Its original name was Hickory Town. And these are not golf related, by the way.
God, I was just going to say, is this a golf related thing? I'm going to say Lancaster. All right. 1.
That's right. All right. Number 2. It served as the national capital for 1 day.
Oh, God.
I'm really scraping for getting facts here. So
I'm going to say that this one is... this is Ancaster.
Nope, it's Lancaster. It was just like an emergency situation during the Civil War. So, all right. It is the home. So we're 50-50 now, 1-1. It is the home of Redeemer.
Oh, this
University.
is Ancaster.
All right. So you got that one. So 2-1. Pretty good. So, all right. 3 to go. Let's see where we go. It was home to the first successful 5 and dime store, Woolworths.
Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you that I know that this is Lancaster.
All right.
But I also don't believe that that's right. I think Woolworths originated someplace else.
I don't think so, but anyways, we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
So you think it's Lancaster?
It's Lancaster, right. Yeah.
So you're 3-1. Nice. All right,
Damn,
two to go. It was named for a town in England.
Ancaster.
This is a trick question. It's both.
So it's right. It's 4-1 then.
They were both named for towns in England for sure, which is like a lot of other places. All right, last one. You're doing pretty good here.
Yes, and I know this one.
Come on,
I do know this one. Yeah.
How would you even know this one?
Because I know that the person that won the Nobel Prize to win physics was Canadian.
Well, this didn't happen like last week, so
no, I know.
It was the hometown of Bertram Brockhouse, the Nobel Prize winner in physics.
Ancaster.
All right, there you go. So, 5-1. Good job. Congrats. You have climbed the trivia mountain.
Yeah. And just the next time I'm on Jeopardy, I might answer one question right.
All right. There you go.
Nice little trivia there, Scamac. I'm sure that we've just educated a whole another level of golfers on the Ancaster Lancaster debate.
There you go. Brockhouse won his Nobel Prize.
Are you sure about Woolworths, though?
Look it up, dude. Look it up.
I thought Woolworths originated in Europe.
I don't think
like
so.
Over in like, and it was originally a grocery store, not a 5 and dime.
It's the Great 5-cent store, founded in Utica, New York.
Founded in Utica, New York.
Why does that say that?
Exactly. So where do you get Lancaster from?
I don't know. Oh, maybe that was the corporate founding.
Ah, well, whatever. I still got it right.
All right,
5-1. Did I get it right or wrong? I got that one right.
I get that right.
Yeah, I got that right. National capital for a day. That sucks. How do I not get that right? What does the matter with me?
All right.
Bush League.
Oh, so there we go. So my story was wrong in a little bit. So his first store failed, and then he made his second attempt, which was Woolworth's Great 5-cent store. And that was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So,
right, well, then the six. Okay, so
that's
so
where
the
it was
success story.
Roots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was the home of the first successful 5 and dime store. The first 5 and dime store was unsuccessful. This one was the first successful. So once again, a trick question, but it doesn't matter because I got it right.
All right, there you go. Congrats.
All right. Well, there you go. Great show, Mr. McLeod. That was exciting. I'm like ready to hit the weekend with a lot of vim and vigor. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to hit the golf course.
All sizzle, no fizzle?
I've got a couple 9-hole rounds in so far, so I'm really excited about that. I have been playing some golf, so that makes me happy.
I am glad to hear that. I really am.
The body's feeling good. I'm hitting it decent, feeling great. So
there you go. We need a game soon.
Yes, we do need. Well, we almost had it.
We did. So,
all right, let's get out of here. Great show, as always. Thank you to our sponsors, Metcalf Golf Club, Celtic Golf Center, presenting sponsor this week, TaylorMade Golf. What if the golf ball you're playing isn't the number one golf ball for you? Meet the all-new TP5 and TP5X from TaylorMade. Whether you prefer the softest 5-layer tour ball in TP5 or the fastest, now that it's a half club longer in TP5X, you'll be playing a golf ball that performs like it was built just for you. Available in white, yellow, and picks, or you can personalize it with my symbol. No matter which you choose, every TP5 and TP5X is designed to help your game. Head to TaylorMadeGolf.ca today to find the number one ball for you. Well, we do hope you are enjoying and hearing and watching us chat golf. Be sure to follow us across all social media networks, Instagram, X, Facebook, and subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And I really do say, do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us, click the notification bell, make sure that you never miss a single episode. Get over to flagstick.com for more amazing golf content delivered every day. And you better subscribe to Flagstick Digest so you can get all this information sent directly to your inbox 3 days every week. But as always, we appreciate you tuning in. Until next week, I'm Jeff Botter.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.